Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a new, not really new. The set came out a few months ago, Hidden Legends pre-release kit opening. And the reason why I delayed this opening was because when this set came out, I was busy and I didn't really have too much of an interest because of the contents of what the set provided, as well as competitive season being over. I didn't really see a point to opening product immediately. I wanted to see how things would play out with the competitive circuit, especially having World Finals. I wanted to see what other people would cook up. And to my dismay, I did not see a whole lot of innovation when it came to this set, and I can see why. But we're going to talk about that a little bit more in depth in this opening. But we're going to talk about the pre-release kit, what the set brings, new mechanic, and what I think overall. So we're going to open two of these Hidden Legends pre-release kits. So these typically come with, 9 FFTCG packs like usual, and they retail for like $40. Let's see. So the promo that we get this time around is the Emperor. So the Emperor is a promo. It's a normally heroic rarity card. Pretty good. If he survives the turn, he gets to break all of the forwards and monsters using 3 crystals. That's pretty strong. But is this card a viable competitively? Probably not right now. It's a little bit slow, but I could see some potential in the future. So sleeves wise, this features Mog from FF6. So this one is the set of sleeves that comes with this pre-release kit. And once again, we have 9 packs, I believe. Right? 9? Yeah, 9. So we're gonna open these, see what we get. But the chase card for this set obviously is Clive. And this Hidden Legends pre-release set, or set in general, is the first time we have Final Fantasy XVI as a debut for the trading card game. So a lot of people are excited about the characters and their debut for the first time. As for myself, I do enjoy and played FF16. But I would have liked to see a lot more of these cards printed in full arts rather than just Clive by himself. And I think this set overall is a bit of a disappointment in my opinion, because a lot of the cards are just simply very weak compared to prior sets. It didn't really move the needle all that much. When I first looked at the set, I felt like a lot of these cards are just very weak. It didn't bring a whole lot to the competitive scene, especially to the competitive circuit. Prime example would be this card. You would think this card would be pretty good. It has a lot of text, but even in Mono Wind, people are not playing this card a whole lot. They just don't have room. You know, we're 24 sets into the standard set, and card slots are very, very hard to come by. If newly printed cards are not strong enough to warrant a deck spot in deck construction, I feel like these cards are just not very playable, a lot of them. And the problem with this new priming mechanic with the Final Fantasy XVI characters, in my opinion, they're not very viable, except for Clive and Ifrit. And the reason being, prime cards, the mechanic requires you to have a card in the deck for it to prime. The biggest problem is, a lot of times you can't control when you draw cards, right? So then if you get the priming target in your hand, or you drew them early, you're kind of screwed. Because you want to prime Ifrit, but if Ifrit has already been drawn, you can't prime into it. So, what are you going to do then? And then you have to commit so many deck slots into the prime mechanic. Even playing Clive and Ifrit by themselves, you need to commit 6 cards to your deck. So that makes other forwards that you want to prime even harder to find deck slots for, because you need to commit, what, more than you would want. So that's why Odin and Bahamut, the light and dark primes, aren't very played. Not played at all, basically, because light and dark forwards you cannot discard for CP, and at the same time, if you're stuck with a bunch of them, you can't do anything with them. So, I don't know, it's just very underwhelming. So, that's why a lot of these cards were, when they showed up in the World Championship last year in 2024, well, the only cards that really just saw play were Clive, Ifrit, and, oh my god. Okay, here we go. So, we were talking about this Icon, Dominant combo, Barnabas, and Odin, and basically these cards didn't show up in the World Championship at all. The only cards that really saw play were Jill, her Icon, Torgal, and Clive, for the most part. And there's a good reason for that, right? Because Clive is definitely the strongest card in the whole set. Jill and Torgal being the support for those. But every other card didn't really show up. And that's for good reason, right? Because a lot of these cards are just so underwhelming. And when you have Chaos, the Turbo Chaos deck running around, which kills you in 2 turns, potentially. You know, all these slow setup decks, they're kind of cute, but not really. They don't do too much. Don't really do enough to compete at a higher level. And that's what's most disappointing about the set, because they printed a bunch of cards, but I feel like a lot of them is just underpowered. And the way that this game is designed, you have to design cards that are desirable for people to want to buy and open the product. But when you have design problems like these, where the cards are actually moving backwards, you know, prime example would be the Zidane, the new heroic card that came out. It's actually a lot weaker than the card that came out in Opus 16. That's 8 sets ago. So why would anyone play the new Zidane when the old one's a lot better, right? It would have made more sense if this one came out first, the newest one, and the old Zidane should have been the new one. But no, we're moving backwards in power creep. So it's very disappointing. Very disappointing. Just like this box where I got 0 full arts. And don't get me started with the full arts. This set is extremely underwhelming with the full arts. Because if you take a look at the secondary market, and I know you're not supposed to care about the secondary market, we open the cards as collectors because we like the art. True. But when you have collectibles, they have to hold some kind of value for people to continue to want them, right? If there is no value to be obtained from the product that you're opening, then nobody's going to want to open them. So the problem with this set, in my opinion, is that they didn't print enough cards that did enough for the players who want to play the game, and they didn't do enough for the collectors either, because if you look at the cards that are available, right, a lot of these full arts were underwhelming as well. I mean, they printed more cards from Stranger of Paradise, but honestly, like, how many people played that game? And that game wasn't even popular. We have, I don't know, like 3 new full arts from Stranger of Paradise. Who cares, right? Then you have this full art tomato, which is worthless and unplayable. And speaking of the devil, right? You have a full art of this. Like, this is terrible, not playable. And why is this even a full art? We have cards and characters that have so much more desirability, right? That don't get full arts. Where's full art Jill, for example? This is, why would they? I just don't understand the design team's rationale for a lot of these, because why would you print a lot of these cards that are so undesirable when you have so much potential for more, right? So I've really soured on the set, and seeing how almost none of the new cards made it to the competitive circuit, cemented it as one of these skippable sets. And if you compare, oh my god, speak of the devil, I hate this card. Why do you exist? Ugh. So you create a set that does nothing for the competitive circuit. Half the cards, more than half the cards are unplayable. The collectors don't want it because the full arts are terrible. Who's going to open this product? Who? Tell me who. Nobody. And that's why we have a card like Clive, who is currently being resold for $30 to $40 on the secondary market because nobody's opening the product. Why would anybody open this product? Why would anyone buy this product when there is only one card that's playable in the set, right? It creates an unbalance in the marketplace. All of these cards, it's not good, not good. None of these cards are really playable. It's not looking good. Not looking good. Now, I know I'm a little bit negative, and most of the things I say are just my opinions, but hopefully in the future we get sets that actually, you know, support some of these mechanics and make them better. Because if not, you know, they printed a lot of new cards requiring crystal support. Hopefully there's a payoff, but don't hold your breath. Oh my god. So yeah, speaking of which, it seems like the next set might have a little bit more potential, but as it stands, I think priming as a mechanic is just dead. It's just very, 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 very weak. Priming, it would have been a lot better if they said something like you can prime from hand or from the deck. Because if you draw the dead card in your hand, it's still not dead, technically, because you get a discount on playing it. But nope, it has to be from a deck, and there's only two ways to put cards back into your deck. One of them being Joshua, which requires you to play copies of him, which again, fire decks don't really have room to do. So yeah, there you have it. One full art, and it's the worst one of them all. I think that card's like, what, $5 or something? You can't even give it away for $5? Full art Cactor? I mean, this art is just... Sorry, it's not great. What is this? They didn't even create a background for this? What kind of lazy design is this? So yeah, let's talk about it, right? The set. I mean, if you compare it to the last set that came out before the Worlds, the year prior, Beyond Destiny, that set was really good. They had a ton of playable cards like Lena, Warrior of Light, Irvine, you name it. There are way more cards that were playable last year at the same time that came out. This year, literally 3 cards from the set saw play in Worlds. Everything else was like, not played, right? There weren't even new decks that were created from the set. Last year, you saw new decks like Warrior of Light, 7 cost, Ruggagene, decks with Mono Ice aggro. This year, nothing. There were no new decks created from the set. What's going on? You know, what's going on is because they printed a card called Chaos, and now every single thing that they print moving forward feels very underwhelming. You can't play cards like Bosch, who requires, you know, setup because you need additional category 12 characters. When you're dead in 2 turns, the design team is writing themselves into a corner here. I feel like the health of the game is in jeopardy with Chaos being around in the format. And I don't know, man. I think something needs to be done because as it stands, I don't like where the game is going right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this rant about FFTCG and where this set is, because I feel like more people need to talk about the state of the game and where we are, because as it stands, I just don't really think the game is going in the right direction. Design wise, card art wise, desirability wise, playability wise, it's not doing so well, in my opinion. But let me know what you think. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Till next time.